All right, you guys, what's up? I went to play the video and it didn't play on my end, so I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I put up my typical little trailer before we get started here, but for some reason, I didn't see it. Did you guys see it? What's up? What's up? Welcome. When you log on, say hi. Hello, Miss Jessica. We were just going back and forth a second ago. Got our times off because your husband changed all the clocks. Welcome, you guys. As you are getting logged on, like I said, say hello. I'm going to put the chat overlay up. There we go. Perfect. All right. Welcome, welcome, you guys. Welcome. Yeah, I love being able to go live. That was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I wish I could do that at all the shows. Obviously, can't do that at all of them because some of the shows have their own live streams. So that's not possible. But I like to try when I can. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I have you guys live on Instagram as well. But if you want to jump over to YouTube or Facebook, it's a better experience. We'll be showing pictures and all that kind of fun stuff too as we go along. We're going to wrap up the Charlotte Pro from this weekend. We're going to do both wellness and bikini. Before we get into all that, QR code right up here in the corner for our flash sale. We have one package left. One, and it's closing down tonight at 10. So if you are still on the fence, you got a chance. You still got the opportunity. So grab it now, scan that QR code. We have one package left from the flash sale that we did for Charlotte Pro, and then it is gone. What's up? Welcome. Welcome from New Mexico. I love it. We always give you guys about 3-4 minutes or so to get logged on and get settled in. Everybody gets their notifications and gets ready to roll. We are going to have a special guest pop on this evening too at some point. Not yet, but at some point. So I'm waiting for them to join. Once they do, I will add them into the stream. And until then, we're going to do business as usual. Welcome, guys. How many guys actually logged on to the live stream when I went live this past weekend for the show? So initially I did it on Saturday when I got there for finals for figure. I did it through this app. I did it through Restream, what I normally do. And the audio was fine, but the video was not that great. So I ended up going live straight from YouTube. And that actually worked out really well. So good. Glad you guys got a chance to see it. Hey, what's up? Yeah, it was fun. Like I could see that there were a lot of people on. Some people were chatting in, some people weren't. I always encourage you guys to chat in. So anytime that you see me on live or something, I welcome the comments. I can't respond to everything that comes in, but I try to. I try to respond to as much of the stuff as I can. I tried. Thank you. Yes, the good thing about doing it the way that I did it this weekend was I was sitting front row right behind the judges. Even when I'm on like the official live stream for the shows, which I do sometimes, they have us off to the side with a monitor, right? So when you're watching on a monitor, as I've always told you guys before, it's not the same thing as what you see in person. It's just not. So like I'm sitting there with my phone like this, and I can look at the competitors right straight there in front of me. So it was a lot better for me doing it that way versus any other way I've been doing it, like with the live streams that I've been on before. So I actually really liked that. I did not realize how sensitive my camera was going to be as far as for YouTube. Like it's not typically like that when it's just my normal camera. It has like a stabilization thing in there or something, but I guess it doesn't have that when you go actually live from YouTube. So every time I moved, it shook. I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry, you guys. So apologize about that. But so the next time I'm able to do that at a show, I'll have a tripod or something like that with me to try to stabilize it a little bit better. But I wasn't expecting it to be so touchy. So but I felt like when I went back and watched the stream after it was reposted myself, I thought it came out pretty decent. So I was pretty happy about that, just coming off my phone. You know what I mean? So shout out to Johnny Stewart, his show. He was the one that actually allowed me to do that. So I thought that was amazing. Since they didn't have an actual official live stream for the show, it was nice to be able to have something, So with that, we are going to wrap up the show tonight. and I am actually going to log off of Instagram. So for those of you that are on Instagram, go over to YouTube or Facebook, because I want to make sure that if my special guest is having any issues, I can actually see my phone, because if I have Instagram up, I can't. So go check out YouTube or Facebook here, guys. I'm going to log off of here. And we're just going to share that. I want to make sure that if she tries to contact me or something, I can see it, because otherwise I can't. All right, there's that. What's up, guys? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with wellness, and then we'll go into bikini at the end. So let's see. Did you guys agree with the wellness placings? That's the first question that I have. Did you guys agree with the wellness placings? Hang on a second. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to work with my guest here to get her on. Hang on. Why don't I see you? And waiting for the host. I don't see you. Okay, hold on. We're going to figure this out. Hang on. I don't have you in here. Trying to get our guest on. Just hold on, guys. Hold on. We're going to figure this out. Let me do this. Maybe it was the wrong link. I don't know. Hang on a second. This is like suspenseful, guys. I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get her in on the stream. Hang on a second. Just hang on. It'll be worth it. I promise. I promise it'll be worth it. I'm trying to think of how I can resend this. Let's see. Hold on. I promise this will be worth it. Just hold on to your popcorn, you guys. I promise. Let's see. What do we got? I am going to go here. Not what I meant to do. Let's copy. I don't know why it's not giving me the event. I think it's the event that's the problem. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know why it's not doing that. I'm trying to think of what I can do here to get her on with you guys, because you're all here waiting. That's the same link. Invite, copy. I know. Hold your popcorn, you guys. Hold your popcorn. Sent. 1 second. Promise to be worth it. So, how about those Yankees? I don't even know. I'm trying to waste some time here for a minute, trying to get her logged on to the stream. Do. Promise will be worth it when she's on. What's up? I know it's quiet. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get we've got a last minute guest add on for today. So I'm glad I logged off of Instagram because she wasn't able to get on with the link that I sent her before. New link. So hopefully this is going to work. There she is. We got her. We got her on. Okay. I promise. I told you. I promise to be worth it. Got it. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I can barely hear you. Do you have your mic on or?
Can you hear me now or not really?
Oh, you know what? Hang on. I got it. That's my fault. I'm all like scatterbrained right now. So let me put my earbuds in.
Okay.
I'm like, why can't I hear you? There we go. They can hear you, but I can't because I don't have my earbuds in. All right, awesome, cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave the actual chat overlay up for everyone. So say hi to our special guest. Surprise guest, Miss Britney Gillespie, who just qualified for the Olympia this past weekend. So how are you feeling tonight?
I feel good. I just got back home like early this morning. It's like still like kind of setting in, kind of not.
Yeah.
So I feel amazing.
Awesome. So it was kind of a whirlwind of a weekend, huh?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of emotions over the last week or so. So, I mean, you came into San Diego and, obviously everybody was looking at you because you'd come close to qualifying for the Olympia several times last year. You know what I mean? So we're looking to see what was going to happen. And how did you feel after coming out of that? You were what, 7th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did you feel coming out of after coming off of that? Well, how did you feel?
Not great. I mean, I like me and Jamie felt confident in what we brought, and I was really happy with what we brought still, but not as much like we were still like really figuring out how to fit together the right front pose, and I wasn't that comfortable in it, and it was so hard for us to try to angle it right, but yeah, it wasn't the first time I had gotten I think I got like a 6th place last year, and that was pretty disappointing at the time, but once I learned that it's just like a part of the process and that one placing really obviously does not define you. But I'm not going to lie, I really did not think I was going to win Charlotte. I was hoping to get top 5 because the lineup was amazing. Like I was so excited to be against girls who also were really close to qualifying in the past. So, and I knew it could likely be one of our first qualifications. So it was super exciting just to be a part of that mix. I was like, oh, I hope I get top 5, top 3. I just really wanted to kind of present our physique a little better than the week before and just continue making improvements because I know it takes multiple steps, multiple shows to find the right look.
Mm-hmm. So I got up on the stage or on the screen, one of your stage shots from San Diego. So, looking at this one, when you got done with the show, what was it that when you looked at your stage pictures and got your feedback and things like that, what was it that you wanted to change going into Charlotte?
This side was still very uncomfortable and new for me because I posed on my other side basically my whole career. And I didn't feel like very natural in the pose and like my arm coming out and just angling the waist and my lats like the right amount. We were trying to angle the glute the right amount so I didn't see like my glute line. So I just like didn't like mostly my posing. I feel like the conditioning what they told me was spot on, but I felt like we could be a little tighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because, one of the things I mentioned after looking at the photos is you looked like you were a lot more muscular than the other girls in your call out from the pictures. I mean, I wasn't there in person, but just from looking at the photos online and things, it looked like you were muscular. And then Jamie was like, no, that wasn't her feedback. And I was like, okay, I'll see what she looks like when she gets on stage here in Charlotte. And when you got on stage in Charlotte, I was like, no, she's not too muscular at all. I don't know it might have just been the angle of the shot or something like that, but what did they give you as far as feedback that they'd like to see you change from San Diego?
Tamer mentioned wanting to see me open up more my upper body towards the front, but we had been cautious to not do that so much as to avoid the X frame that
Right.
don't want us to present. But for some people, a little bit more of an X frame is like you've mentioned before, like with Tara, like some people do need to learn how to angle themselves differently than others, not always the traditional, like, it should be done this way. So he said he wanted to see like, yeah, a little more width up top. And yeah, I just felt like the balance wasn't as great in this pose. But he said the conditioning was there. He didn't mention any body parts that need to come up, but I think it was more you need to present your upper body more. And I just think he wasn't impressed by my shape in this on this side, which I agree with.
Gotcha. Okay, cool, awesome. And it was new for you. You know what I mean? It was different. It was like you said, you were uncomfortable. So you went back to where you felt natural. I mean, you can even see your smile looks more natural here. So so you went back to where you felt good, right? So what made you change the look? What made you change this other, we know the pose, why you changed that? Why'd you change
Mhm.
the suit and everything too?
That was mostly Jamie. Like at first she didn't really like this light purple suit. She wanted me to do maybe like a light blue. But
Mhm.
I just like felt really called to this suit and I kept kind of like she suggesting we wear it, but she really liked the red. But then we just tried it on for fun and then like Jamie, Greg, and Yvette were all there and we're like, actually this is like really like striking. It kind of like works really well with your hair. So we decided to change that up. And then I had my hair straight after I washed it. And they were like, actually, I really like the way it looks straight. So maybe we'll just keep it that way. And we added extra extensions in for this show too, for like a little more volume in the hair. So I think that helped.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm a person that, if you're blonde and things like that, I like purple, but a deeper purple. I'm kind of, Jamie and I have very similar eyes when it comes to this kind of thing. So I actually liked the light purple on you though. I thought it worked really well. I thought it worked really well with your look. And again, you just overall look more confident here on this particular pose. When you can just see it in your face and everything. You
Mhm.
just look like you're comfortable in comparison to the other side. So going into the show, what were your thoughts? I mean, you wanted to place top five, all that kind of stuff, but what was your did you question anything going into the show, or were you more comfortable going into the show since you were going back to what you were comfortable with the posing and all that kind of stuff? What do you think?
The only thing I questioned was whether or not we should do this show or girl power. And I was like, I
Okay.
don't know if it's better to just move with this momentum right now. And like, because we knew Tyler Mannion was judging this show, so we
Mhm.
feel like maybe we should push. And then I was like, oh, maybe we should take 3 weeks to make sure we're fine if we need. And, it had to be such an impulsive last minute decision. But once I like suggested we go back to the old side and we were seeing how it was looking now that my physique has changed and I've gotten conditioned, I started feeling really confident once I saw like the new side and
Mhm.
how much more comfortable I was.
Yeah. So, what was your feedback after this show? What did Tyler say to you? What was your feedback from him?
The only thing he said was that he wants to see me get on stage on a bigger stage like Pittsburgh against greater competition.
Hmm.
Because he said, "You look balanced, your conditioning is right where it needs to be." Um, and Jamie is like, "So I just want to clarify, like, you don't think we need to grow anything?" And he's like, "No, but also like we have to wait till we see how I compare to other girls."
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, in this lineup, I'm going to mention that a little bit when I go through and talk about the other girls and stuff like that too. Like this was a kind of a glute dominant kind of lineup. You know what I mean? So you fit into the glute dominant lineup, meaning you had the best pop on that stage, and I do think your conditioning was the best conditioning on that stage as far as that was concerned too. It was for me. It was really hard to pick between you and Maria because you are so different as far as your looks are concerned.
Yeah.
There's like you couldn't get any more different. You know what I mean? So I I was like, what you had over Maria was you had more pop. You had more pop to your glutes. You had the smaller waistline, all those kinds of things. And so it was hard to choose between the two of you. And I was sitting there in the live stream, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go with like I don't know, because it could go either way because you were so different. So tell me a little bit about, after prejudging, what did you do between prejudging and finals? I know one thing that you did between prejudging and finals because we all told you to go do it. What was it?
Jamie fixed my makeup.
Yes, so you fix your makeup.
I literally noticed that right away, like when I came back out on stage, like even from a distance. But yeah, my eyebrows were too light, and the makeup, like it could have been better. It
Yeah,
wasn't terrible, but I was like, oh, this like could have been better. It was an artist I haven't used before,
yeah,
so but it was good enough, but it could have been better.
yeah. It just didn't pop. It didn't. It just was kind of flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and then we just kept it tight. We just kept eating like how we had been eating, which was we would have about 50 grams of carbs and about 12, 15 grams of fat like every few hours, and just like moderate amount of water. And I just had my feet up, and yeah, and then we just did
Just
a little
relaxed.
extra protein before we went on, because we did the DIY. So we just touched it up a little bit because it was like a little bit dark. Joe said it could have, a little bit light. Joe said it could have been a little darker.
Yeah. Well, with the light colored suit, you got to go a little bit darker on the tan to get that contrast on the skin. So that makes sense. It was a long time between prejudging and finals too. You had the opportunity to just chill out. We were saying that at finals, I felt like almost everybody came back looking better at finals because prejudging was so early. Everybody was
Mhm.
on stage at 9 a.m. So I think that everybody had a chance for their food and everything to settle in and kind of fill them out and tighten them up and things like that throughout the day. And it was almost everybody came in better, looking better at finals. So, did they tell you if they rejudged finals as well, or did they just judge prejudging?
They didn't say, but when I watched them during the confirmation, there was no speaking or writing. They were just like they just
Just
watched.
watching.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
don't think so.
So they pretty much had it determined. I didn't look at the scorecards. Did you take a look at the scorecards? Do you know what the point difference was?
It was 3 and 6.
Okay. All right. So it was pretty much straight across the board when you ended up with those ones. Okay. So what is the plan now? What are you going to do now?
So I talked to Jamie. We definitely want to get on stage before the Olympia at least once because we're still like barely figuring out like the right recipe for us.
Mhm.
And because we're already lean and the big shows, New York and Pittsburgh, are coming up, we're going to try to do one of those. But I also feel like it could be advantageous to compete later in the year once we've changed my physique and it's going to be good competition, maybe even better competition at some of these shows later in the year than we're going to have at New York, Pittsburgh. And the point
Yeah.
is just for me to be compared. I want the good competition, but
Yeah.
I think we're likely going because I think with work, I'm actually able to swing Pittsburgh. So I think that's
Oh,
what
perfect.
we're going to do.
No, that's a great option because here's the thing. We already know that Amy's doing it. We already know
Mhm.
she's a top 6 Olympian. So putting yourself up against somebody in that position gives you a really good idea of what you need to do in order to be competitive. You know what I mean? So it's one thing to win a pro show. It's another thing to place top 10 at the Olympia. So you got to put yourself up against that tough competition. And it sounds like you're ready to do that.
Mhm.
so so what are you doing right now like to prepare yourself if you've made that decision about Pittsburgh and things like that? What are you going to do between now and then?
We haven't set too much of a game plan yet because we're still officially deciding with work. But Jamie, and I's goals are to still continue focusing on my upper body because I do agree with you. I want more
For
upper
sure.
body to fill out because, like Jamie said, we really have to work hard to pose to make my upper body look big enough. And
Big
if
enough.
we can
Yeah.
grow more, we can just pose more naturally. So that we're just focusing on upper body training mostly, and we're gonna set the plan in like a couple days once we like officially decide. But I mean, they've told us our conditioning is right on point, so we'll just try to keep it there. My metabolism is in a much better spot than last year.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. So you're feeling good. Now you can kind of breathe a little bit. You got a little wiggle room here. You've actually qualified for the Olympia. So you said it's kind of settled in. So what do you think is going to make that kind of hit? Maybe when you get next to some other Olympians?
Yeah, I think so. And I think just when, the show starts getting close and it's time to start making arrangements and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's only 6 months away, so it's really not right. Like six months. It's
Yeah,
really not
it's
that.
gonna go really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's definitely gonna take some time to like kind of slow down on the body a little bit, so we come in nice and fresh because that's usually when I look my best. I mean, most people. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're on a good path. If you can swing Pittsburgh with work and things like that, then that'll give you again a good opportunity to put yourself up against some tougher competition,
mhm.
see what you need to do, and then give you some time to improve. You know what I mean? So I kind of look at your physique a little bit. I'm not saying that you're the same structure as Laura Lee, but kind of the same issues as Laura Lee, meaning that she's got these phenomenal glutes, but then sometimes she's a little bit thin up on top, you know? And I felt like at the Arnold this past year, she came in with probably the fullest shoulders I've seen. And I was like, oh, she's finally balanced. She's got that teeny tiny little waistline and things like that. So in my opinion, I think that's where you could improve as well. And just like you were saying, then you can pose a little bit more naturally and it's just gonna flow with the actual balance of your physique and you'll be good to go.
Mhm.
So what else? Do you want to leave our ladies here that are watching with any kind of inspirational words? And then I'll let you go for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I was rewatching your live and you saying like, yeah, guys, she was outside of the top 5 and here she is winning the show. Like I'm still blown away myself by like
Yeah.
accomplishing that. And I like had so much self-doubt. Like I was seriously recently just thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna qualify. I really can't do too many shows with work. And I was really like dropping off in my like hope in myself, but I still was like, well, I'm gonna give this like everything I have. I had like 1 week. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna practice the posing, I'm gonna nail the cardio, I'm gonna nail the sodium, the water, everything. Even though I didn't believe myself anymore, I was like, I owe it to myself this week. Like if I only get one more show I can do, I'm gonna just give my best and try to enjoy it. And yeah, like it really is like one placing like does not define you.
Yeah.
Um, one little thing can be off, and when you're up against so many amazing women, like sometimes you get shuffled a little differently. um
Yeah.
so yeah, it's like, I guess you don't see like the doubt that goes on, but despite it all I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep checking my boxes and give it my best, and one day finally when you're not expecting it, like the time will come. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I definitely feel like I can relax now. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like so grateful for everybody. I'm so grateful for your critiques. They're so spot on. It was really nice to talk to you on show day.
I was gonna take your check home. I was like, somehow I ended up with the big check that she got on stage. Somehow I ended up with it. I don't know how, but I'm just standing there. I'm like, I'm Olympia qualified now. I'm like, I'm taking the check with me.
I had to throw it away at like the airport. So it's
You
like,
had to throw it away.
well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna like bring it home. Like,
I
is
would have shipped it. I totally would have. I would have packed it up at like a UPS store and I would have shipped it home.
I
100%.
know. I was so hectic, like getting ready to leave. I didn't mentally prepare for bringing home any sort of like thing. So we had the trophy sticking out of like a backpack on Spirit Airlines, and somehow it was okay.
I love it. I love it. You don't think about those kinds of things. Like, how do you get that stuff home?
Yeah,
Some of these places. I know they don't give out swords anymore,
yeah.
because somebody got hurt on a sword, so they don't give out swords anymore. But I just thought in my head, I'm like, how are people taking swords home from shows?
No, it was like I didn't think I'd get this far.
Yeah, the things you don't think about, like how do you take home a giant check? How do you do
And they
that?
gave me a big Wolfpack bag, so that was like
Nice.
my carry-on on the plane. So I got
Nice.
yeah.
Not a bad deal. Yeah, these shows give it was a really good high quality show too. Like I'm really glad that I was able to go live and everything as well because again you got to go back and watch it too. So were you able to watch back and see some of the things that you could do
Yeah.
better and things like that?
Yeah, I'm so thankful you recorded that. So I've like watched it over a couple times, and
Good.
it's good too to watch yourself during like comparisons, and like you don't really get to see yourself doing that and be like, okay, I need to like improve this transition. I need to improve my walk to the back or the turnaround. So yeah, super
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome. Cool. Well, very cool. I will be in Pittsburgh, so I'll get to see you again. But I won't be able to. I don't think I'll be able to live stream that one because I think they have a live stream for that one. So
Yeah.
at least there's still that. So, but I'll be doing commentary or something on my Spotify or something like that to make sure that we get the critiques out there.
Hopefully I'll be there. It's not official yet, but
Yeah. So okay, so we'll put that as a caveat. If you do Pittsburgh, I will see you there.
yeah.
Um, And that's it. I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna finish out wrapping up the rest of the show. But thank you. This was really, really last minute. Like she just liked one of my stories saying I was going live. I was like, hey, you want to come on with me? So thank you.
All of yours, so I'm gonna continue watching once I get off here.
Well, it's study time, right? You can get on here and you can go through and see your own competition and learn from them, right? You know what I mean? So
I learn everything.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies that are on here, say thank you and say goodbye to Britney and wish her luck at the Olympia, and then we'll get ready with the rest of the live feed here. We'll go through the rest of the show. Have a great night.
Thanks for having me.
And I will see you soon. Yes, thank you for jumping on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Let's move on. So that I was trying to like waste time. So I guess we did a good job wasting time. So now we'll go into the rest of Bikini since we just talked about Bikini. No sense in jumping over to wellness. Let's go ahead and finish out Bikini. Let me pull those up. We got this right here. And the first thing I want to do is I want to give Miss Karen a shout out for those of you that didn't see. So Karen did her thing this weekend, and she did win 16 over. She was the only one in it. Nobody else showed up, so they were all afraid of her. She won. So, but with that, she did 15 over as well. And she placed fourth in 15 over. And I really give her a lot of credit for that because when she goes into pro shows, she'll do the 55 and over and she'll do the 16 over because she is almost 63 years old. So she doesn't like to go any lower than 55. Because as I've told you guys before, when you are competing, if you're a masters, I think you should do your age group and 10 years below, right? So her doing 55 and over is always a good idea, but doing 50 is a little bit of a stretch. So yes, thank you, Brittany. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and I wonder if I can highlight I think I can highlight it. Yeah, I can highlight your comment. There you go. There's her comment. The comments right there, guys. We'll show that one and that one for you guys. Beautiful. Thank you so much again for coming on. I appreciate it. And we'll get rid of that. There we go. Okay. So with Karen, she did a phenomenal job. This is probably one of the best looks I've seen on her so far. Her thing was always getting her upper body to match her lower. And her upper body is getting so much fuller and rounder. She's doing so good. Her presentation has come leaps and bounds, you guys. We've worked with her ever since before she won her pro card. And her posing has so massively improved. Her overall look has massively improved. So we did her suit, we did her posing, we did her makeup, we did all the presentation things for her. So really, really proud of her. And I just want to give her some props here as well before we go into our top 5. And I want to give Miss Angela Rosilia some props too, because we work with Angela as well. We worked with her for several years as well. She's also one of our sponsored athletes who won her sponsorship through Cuties Conquer the Stage this past year. Let me pull up a front pose of her. So we did everything for her presentation wise as well. We did her hair, makeup, suit, and posing. So let's get a front pose. She won 50 and over, and she placed 4th in 40 and over. So again, goals, right? So she did phenomenal. Again, she's just getting better as she goes, nice and round and full. That's the hardest thing to do once we get older. As us master ladies are getting older, it is difficult to stay full and lean at the same time. She did a great job of that. Her presentation was probably one of the better ones I've seen from her. Nice and smooth and confident, and big smiles, which I love. I just wanted to give her some shout outs and props here too. So again, we did all of her presentation details for the show too. So wanted to give them both shout outs here. And let's move on to our top 5 in the open. Okay, so we've talked about each of them quite a bit because I did do the live stream, but let's go into this a little bit. Angela's shape is crazy. So we did preview Ashley. Ashley came in 5th. We thought she could be up in that top 5. She is a previous Olympian as well. Hard to tell from these photos what the colors look like as far as the suit color and things like that. I did like the yellow on her. What I would have liked to see, this yellow suit had a lot of AB stones on it. So I would have liked to see a more pure yellow. So if it was just bright yellow, not all those AB stones on it, I think it would have been a little bit better. But I wasn't mad at the color, and that's just my own personal preference. I mean, if she, I think more so where I was kind of thrown off by it a little bit was the cut itself. Like, I'm not a huge fan of these really long connectors in the center of the chest. I just felt like it was a little off with it with the bottoms. But in general, I liked the color. I just like to see it tweaked a little bit as far as how it was put together and the style and how it was put together. So with that said, beautiful look on her. I think she was a little bit soft in her legs from the back, and this was the overall consensus for like three of these girls that we're going to talk about. They're all very, very similar. They were conditioned from the front, and then from the back they were lacking a little bit of condition. So the other part too is I felt like her glutes were a little small. Let's find a back shot. Her poses overall I thought were great. I thought her presentation overall was great. I think where she ended up in the 5th place spot was from the back. So let's pull up back shot here. All right. So from the back, she was just lacking some volume in the. So you can tell I don't know if you can tell from this versus her front, but in the back she's a little bit softer than she was from the front. Hair is a little bit too much back here as well. We're missing her shoulders. Her arms are popped up. So because her elbows are up, we can't see the delts. I'd like her to bring her arms down a little bit more, and I'd like her hair to be a little bit less, because you can see it's hitting the top of her glutes. It's actually covering up her bikini bottoms a little bit here. So I just like to see her tweak this back pose a bit and then add some volume into her glutes. If she has a little bit more muscle density in those glutes and gets those to pop a little bit more and come at us a little bit more, I think it would have been better look. She's another one, like I said, almost everybody looked like they were better at finals. She's another one that looked better at finals. She was a touch tighter at finals, and I thought it was a better look. I know that in the past, some of the issues have been that she's been too hard from the front, too soft from the back. So it's just this balancing act. So I think she just needs a little bit more glute density, and then she can balance that conditioning from front to back, and then just tweak this back presentation a little bit, meaning the actual pose and the hair, right? This is actually something, so I mentioned this on the live stream. Jamie came and grabbed me prior to prejudging because Anya's her hair extensions were a little bit too long, is what Anya felt like. Jamie thought that was okay, but I was like, nah, it's hitting the top of her suit. Let's cut them, because then we can see the top of her suit. We can see a little bit of her lower back. So I went in with eyelash scissors, and I cut Anya's hair backstage. So guys, you got to do what you got to do. I did the same thing to myself in Japan because my hair was hitting the top of my suit when I was backstage in Japan. So I went in and I cut right across while I was backstage. So you do what you got to do in order to make that show. But what happens is that if you can see that little bit of lower back in the back, then that really completes that X frame from the back so that we see that nice curve into your lower back there. When you got hair there, it actually makes you look a little thicker and wider from the back, right? So that's what we had going on here that I would change. Overall, really beautiful package. Just little things to change here. Next, we had Tamikia, which again, same thing that we were talking about with Ashley. And I did talk to Tamikia too at finals and kind of got some 2 cents from her as well. For those of you that were on live that morning, you heard me say that it looked like she had a film of water over top of her. She was on her cycle. So I was right. Go figure, right? So that's where we were seeing that little film of water. She was trying to mitigate those symptoms and things like that from her cycle. So I felt like from the front, I felt like she looked great. Now, again, same thing here. I'm not a huge fan of this wide connector up top. I think it shows too much through here, makes you look a little bit thin. So I would pull that together and get a little bit smaller of a connector in the center to pull everything towards the center. Err on the side of too big versus too small when it comes to your cups. I don't think the cups are too small, but if she made them a touch bigger, they would pull it in a little bit more. And I think that would actually be a more aesthetic look from the front. I could tell from even when she was walking on stage and walking forward, I could tell that when she turned around to the back, she was going to be a little soft. So what she told me was Again, she was battling her cycle at that point and trying to mitigate those symptoms and all of that as well. But her feedback was that her conditioning was on, but that they want to see more glutes from her. And what she has gotten in the past is that they were telling her that she was getting a little bit too big on the bottom in the past, so she's been trying to pull it down. So when she told me that, that made complete sense to me as to why I felt like her conditioning was a little soft from the back. Conditioning is not just about being lean. Conditioning is also about the amount of muscle that you have. So if you're trying to pull muscle down, which is what she was trying to do, then that means that you are going to look softer because you're not going to have that density and that pop that you had when you had more muscle, right? So here, she's just been pulling it down. She's just been pulling that muscularity down. So since she's been pulling the muscularity down, then her glutes look a little bit smaller. Now they want more glutes, and she looks a little bit softer. Does this make sense? So that was kind of, we figured out that was why I was seeing less conditioning from the back, because she is trying to follow the judging feedback and bring her lower half down. Now they want to see more on her lower half. So, it's this really fine balance. You can go to a tipping point real quick, to the point where you go too much or too little, and at her level, and as Brittany was saying, you can be just this close and just be this much off, and all of a sudden you're outside the top 5. You know what I mean? So that's where she's at right now. If I was her, I would just go back to what was working. I would go back to what was working and put some more density back into the glutes, and just try to watch putting density into the legs, right? The other thing that I critiqued her on too is the hair. Again, hair is covering her shoulders here. So if I was her, I would just kind of finger comb these curls out and make sure they go all the way down her back and don't cover up her shape up top. We don't want to cover up those delts. As much as Bikini is a glute show, it's a shape show as well, and we need to see that shape up on top. So if your hair is on your shoulder like that or something, you got to pull it off your shoulder. So just those little things like that will complete a look. So she does need to pull that hair up off her shoulder, but in general, I think she just needs to go back to what was working before, put a little bit more density on the glutes, watch the legs, and not get too big in the legs, and then she'll be right there. So next one is Sharon. So Sharon was I think kind of the breakout star of the show. I've not seen her before. This was the first time I had seen her, and she is a stunning girl on stage. Beautiful shape, beautiful look, just overall really, really beautiful look. She looked a little soft to me, but if you heard me on the live stream, we were talking about she might have had too much glaze on. So I don't know if she was necessarily soft on her lower half, but I think she probably just put too much glaze onto her legs. You can see it here in comparison to the girls we've already had up on the screen. She's got a lot of glaze on. So if you put too much glaze on, it can actually make you look softer. So you got to be careful of those things. Those last minute fine-tuned details do make a difference. She came back at finals, looked better at finals. She had less glaze on her, so she looked a little bit tighter. She might have also been a little bit tighter. Almost everybody looked a little bit tighter at finals, so she might have already been tighter as well. But I think also because she toned the glaze down, that helped. But again, overall, gorgeous shape here. Beautiful girl. And again, this color on the picture doesn't do it any justice, but this suit was very beautiful on her as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was like her second pro show or something like that. But again, I'd never seen her until this show. And as soon as she turned around, I was like, oh, damn, this girl's got some genetics on her. Holy cow. So look at those long glute insertions. Those are like God-given talent right there, right? So look at what I was just talking about with the other two girls that we had up here about the hair on the back. Notice her hair on her back. It's right down the middle of her back, so we can see the fullness and the roundness and the delts in her shoulders. It's not covering those up. We can see her lower back, so we see the smallness of her lower back right there. That completes the look right in the back, right? Again, if she had a little bit less glaze back here, I think that she would have looked a little bit tighter. I mean, this was a very, very good package, and like I said, if she came back looking better at finals. I don't know what her feedback was, but they likely told her just to come in a little bit tighter, probably just a touch, not a lot. She's got some calves on her too, so she's got to be careful with that because you can quickly look a little bit too muscular on that lower half if you're not careful. So she definitely has a good amount of muscle on her frame. They probably, and I don't know, they probably told her to just be careful not to get any bigger and just kind of bring it in a touch tighter. That's my thought process. I could be wrong, you know what I mean? But that's what I'm thinking. So I see her probably winning a show very, very soon. Just little teeny tiny tweaks, right? Um, Next, we have Maria. So I thought this was one of Maria's best looks. And one of the things that I've mentioned with Maria in the past is she'll come out for prejudging, like in the first comparison looks, and she'll look great. And then by the time she gets through individuals, everybody goes through their individuals and they get on stage, she's lost a little bit of that pop and that oomph. That was not the case at this show. She still stayed relatively the same from her individual two comparisons. That said, she could still stand to have some more pop. Now, I felt like her body was very balanced. When you look at her from her upper body to her lower body, the width in her shoulders, the fullness in her shoulders to her glutes and her hips and everything down, she has really, really good balance. So we were just talking about Britney having to pull her shoulders to be able to pose more and look better balanced on top with her lower half. Maria doesn't have to do that. Maria has that balance from top to bottom. Now, where Britney edges her out is in pop, for sure. So when you turn Maria to the back, and that's what we're going to do next. Let's get a good back shot. Here we go. You can see here, she doesn't have as much pop here. Like even when we were looking at Sharon, the last girl that was just up, Sharon has more pop. So I felt like every girl in that first call out did have more pop in their glutes than Maria. However, look at her balance from her shoulders. See the width in her shoulders down to her feet. She's got that V into her back and her lower waistline. Again, look at the hair. The hair is perfectly placed down her back. We can see her lower back. We can see her shoulders and her delts. She's got fantastic balance from top to bottom. Now, I do know her feedback was that she needs more upper outer glute. She needs more projection on her glutes, which I agree with. I think that is where Britney edged her out, right? So again, with Maria, it's just about getting that glute density, getting that pop, and I think that she's very, very close. It could be as simple as how she dials in for the show. You know, it could be that simple to get that projection and get that extra pump back there. Or it could mean that she needs to add some more size on. It could be that too. So I don't know what her plans are, but if I was her, I would continue to compete and try to get a win out because I think she's this close. I think at the end of the day, if she can nail that pop, I think she'll be winning a show really, really soon. And again, I go back to, I remember watching her on stage several times last year and she would fade through prejudging. And I didn't see that here. So I think she's already on her way to being better than what she was last year. She just needs to be able to get that fullness in the glutes and then she'll be good to go. If she can get the fullness in the glutes, like I said, she's got great balance top to bottom. So really, really stunning package overall. And she's a beautiful girl on stage too. Posing was great as well, as far as nice and clean and all of that kind of stuff too. So we just talked to Britney, but we're going to pull up her photos as well. So let's take a look. We just looked at her front pose. So like we were talking about before, when she was on here, I mean, she was clearly more comfortable in this front pose than the other. And again, looking at these photos, it's hard to tell, but that suit was a lighter purple on her, and I thought it was actually very, very pretty on her. Britney has a tendency to wear darker colors. I like the lighter colors on her. I think they're much, much more flattering, in my opinion, on her. So where we're looking at, and like Britney was saying, is just adding a little bit more size onto the shoulders so she doesn't have to pose quite as hard and she can just show her shape. And I think that would complete her frame from top to bottom. Waistline is teeny tiny. Don't need to change anything with that. Just add a little bit more fullness to the shoulders. I think she's good to go. And again, just watch the glam. Make sure she pops on the glam and everything too. And then her full package will be put together too. Let's take a look at her back pose. All right. Okay. So even here, I would say trim the hair. Trim the hair so we see a little bit of that lower back. You can kind of see it here and kind of see it over here, but give us a little, even like a little U shape right here, and then we'll see the top of that suit. It's not covering our glutes, which is good, but we're missing the top of that suit. So if we get the top of that suit to show, I think it would be good. Now I will say this, I felt like from the back, her shoulders were nice and full and round the whole time. So I think she looked great from the back with the back pose. We've got nice width up here coming into that lower back, nice and small. And you can see here, do you guys see the pop difference that we're talking about with her versus Maria? So she has quite a bit more pop, right? She's got that full upper outer glute. She's got those nice long hamstring tie-ins. They're not diced in though. They're not super conditioned. That's the other thing too. Everybody that was in this first call out had nice full hamstrings, not diced, not diamonds, not shredded, none of those things, right? So comment in, can you see the pop? Do you see what I'm talking about when I'm saying pop? Do you understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about projection? It's how the glutes come out at you. You can actually see it's like a shininess right here. That's the pop that we're talking about, right? Can you guys see that? Comment in, tell me, can you see it? I felt like, again, the suit cut was great on her backside. The only thing I would change about the back pose is the hair. I would just trim the hair. So just show me a little bit more of that lower back, because we can see how small her waistline is from the back. So we don't want the hair covering that up, so we can see it. Yeah, you see it? Yep. And again, nice and clean look, nice and clean straight hair, all of that. So she's very, very balanced from side to side. That's the other thing too. A lot of girls end up having one glute bigger than the other. Like I've told you guys before, you got to pose on both sides. So, it's a good thing she posed on the other side last week. That kept her balanced from the back. The fact she can pose on both sides is a good thing. It just shows that she's keeping her body balanced, right? Yeah, shape monster for sure, 100%. So yeah, I felt like, again, if she can get those shoulders to pop a little bit more, when she's up against the top Olympians and things like that, I think that's really going to showcase her physique the best. She does have some good muscle from the back, but not too much. We were talking about the calves on Sharon. She's got some good calves back here too. So it's a nice full round look all the way from top to bottom. Just needs a little bit more of the cap on the shoulder. So yeah, I mean, really, 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 really good package. Really, really competitive package as far as what we're looking for from the standard of Bikini, and I feel like it was a well-deserved win. So there we go. So that's Bikini. So we're going to go through the top 5 of wellness as well, really quickly. First thing I wanted to do is I wanted to shout out Inez. So Inez is another one of our sponsored athletes. She made her pro debut this past weekend. She placed 9th in Open, 3rd in 35 and over Masters, and 4th in 40 and over Masters. So I just wanted to give her a big shout out. She did a phenomenal job. Beautiful look overall. Just needs some more conditioning and depth in the glutes, and should be good to go to move up in the ranks. So she's looking at what she's going to do next. But this was by far the best package I've ever seen her put on stage. So I was really, really happy, and I'm glad that I got a chance to be there to be there for the whole thing too, and witness it all and capture it all as well. So just want to give her a big shout out. She is one of our Pro Performer Promise winners. So that means she won her pro card while wearing one of our suits. So now she is sponsored in our suits for life. So just so you guys know, if you want to win a sponsorship for your suits, you can do that too. It's our Pro Performer Promise. There you go. There's a little plug. All right. Let's go into 5th place. So Leah was 5th for wellness. This is actually her pro debut. She is local. I think she's Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful, beautiful look. Like very aesthetic look. Where did it go? There it is. She's also very tall too. I think she's 5'9", 5'10", something like that. So it is difficult to build size on your legs like that with that kind of frame. But this is a phenomenal look. Waistline's nice and tight, nice and full. I think she said her feedback was they wanted her to come in a little bit tighter in order to compete against some of these higher ranking pros, I would say she needs a little bit more size. I mean, she's got a very tall frame, so she's going to have to fill it out as much as she can. But this is a phenomenal pro debut. Again, beautiful. She had a beautiful look overall. Beautiful, excuse me, beautiful posing, all of that. So she's great, especially for her pro debut. So let's find a back shot real quick. Here we go. I mean, that's impressive at any stage, but also just in general for a tall girl, that's very impressive. So I would say a little bit more size. Specifically in the legs, I think her glutes are pretty good. I would probably pull up her quads a little bit from the back, just so she looks a little thicker through those legs in the back. Fix this pose a little so we don't see the hands on the outside of the legs. I'm wondering if this is her in a transition. It might be. Let me see if we yeah, there we go. So also be careful of this kind of thing. See the fingers through the middle of your legs. Be careful of that, right? So I would say she can add some more size on her legs, also in her glutes. Now that she's fully in her pose, notice how it's a little shallow up top. So just overall, she could add a little bit more size on the whole lower half right here, just to fill herself out a little bit more. But again, beautiful look for your pro debut. A little tighter, a little bit more size. I believe I said that on the live stream too. So next we have Jasmine. So Jasmine Payne is a previous Olympian. She's got the size. She's actually got too much size. She's a little bit too big. I think that was her feedback last year as well. The one thing I will say is her waistline was a lot tighter than what I've seen her look like before. And that could be because it was morning, so she didn't have a chance to like fill out, spill over, anything like that, because her waistline was not as tight at finals. But it was probably the tightest I've ever seen it at prejudging. But you notice here how big her arms are in comparison. It's supposed to be an imbalanced division, right? Her lower half is supposed to be bigger than her upper half. So she just needs to pull that size down. Just in general, needs to pull that size down, right? I was not a fan of this suit. I know she likes to wear green quite a bit. Just with those yellowish tones to the green, it's hard to tell again in these photos, but it had yellowish, goldish tones to it. You guys already know I don't like the pie plates on the chest piece. I just don't think it's flattering on anyone across the board. I would like to see her. I don't mind the green on her. I would just like to see an emerald green without those yellow tones, right? It just doesn't flatter her skin tone, in my opinion. So go with green, but like an actual like emerald green. Or a completely different color. Try, a blue or something like that to pop off the skin tone. But in general, she just needs to pull the size down. She's just too big, specifically in the upper body. She does have a lot of size on the lower half as well. But I think she'd get away with it a little bit better if she brought the upper body down some more. So conditioning was good. She's just big, muscularity wise. So let's look at a back shot for her before we move on. Let me see if I can find one. So you can see this, the quads are, I mean, there's a reason why she's called Quadzilla, right? So, I mean, she's got some massive size on the lower half. By herself, she doesn't even look that big, but when you put her next to everybody else, she does. She outsizes everybody on that stage. So she does need to watch that and just keep working on kind of refining her frame, right? Let's look at... So Luz was actually the winner of the 40 and over and the 35 and over Masters Wellness as well. Really, really tight conditioning. Great shape overall. A little bit big in the upper body too. Same thing I was saying with Jasmine. A little bit too big in the upper body. You can see with her biceps and her shoulders and stuff like that. So she needs to watch that. She's getting a little too big up top. Waistline was good. All those kinds of things. I would say her conditioning might have been a little bit too much, in my opinion. But I think with her frame and things like that, I think it worked for her. The other thing you got to be careful of when you're masters is you kind of have to come in conditioned, or else you end up looking soft. And it's a really fine balance. Again, we've always talked about that when we're talking about masters athletes. Once you get over a certain age, you start looking soft if you're not super conditioned. So then you're out of shape. So from the back, I feel like she has great balance, right? This is wellness shape from the back, right? Her suit doesn't fit her quite right. You can see it's kind of popping up a little bit in the back. Got to be careful of that kind of stuff, you guys. This is something that's going to be talked about a lot more. Suit bottom coverages, specifically wellness, more than anything else. These wellness bottoms are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're showing things they should not be showing. So, got to be careful with this. I mean, you can see it; it's coming off of her skin up on the top. So, if you're afraid you're showing something, glue it down. Glue it down. So, other than that, though, I mean, she's got great shape from the back. She was super diced, specifically at finals. She was super diced. So, but congratulations on the overall wins from the Masters and then going top 5 for Open as well. So Jennifer is already Olympic qualified. I felt like maybe this shows she was just trying some new things to get some feedback from Tyler, that kind of thing too. So she doesn't need the qualification. I felt like it was a good package for her. I think she's finally looking more wellness. All last year when she was competing, I thought she was like trying to be figure, basically. Let me see if I can find a good front shot. I mean, this works. She was trying to be wellness in a figure body last year. Last year, some of the issues that she had was she was always wearing a dark suit. And she had a really dark tan. This particular look, the tan to me looked a little bit gray. It was very light. I wasn't a fan of the tan. And I was not a fan of the suit either. You can also see this suit is bagging a little bit as well. You can't tell from this light, but at the show, all of those stones on there were AB pink stones, and they were very, very bright. Also, her earrings here were really overpowering. I kept looking at her earrings because they were so big and so long. I kept looking at her earrings. So you don't ever want your accessories and your suit to overpower your look. And I felt like that's what happened here. Again, I actually think her physique has come a very, very long way just since last year. She's molded it quite a bit to go more towards wellness. You can see her lower half is bigger than her upper half, so she's done a great job with that. So don't allow those details, the presentation details, to take away from the fact that you've improved your physique so much, right? Let's look at her back shot. Okay, here's a back shot for you. So again, suit's not fitting her up here on the top, right? It's like bunching up in the top. Got to be careful of that stuff, you guys. Tighten it up, right? This was a much better balanced look from the back for her as far as wellness balance is concerned. Again, she used to be very small in her glutes. She looked like a figure trying to pose as wellness. This was a lot fuller, lot better. She still needs more glutes, right? Legs are good. I wouldn't change her legs. I think her legs are right on. She needs more glutes. But the balance, again, has come a long way. She just needs to work on those fine-tuned balance things with adding more glutes, but also the presentation details. This suit, I wouldn't do the suit again. This tan, got to figure out why it turned out gray. It could be because she just competed last week. Maybe her skin wasn't taking the tan well this week. That could be it. But to me, the tan was distracting because it looked a little gray. But overall, like I said, much, much better than what she's put on stage in the past. Now she's just got to fine tune these things. And last but not least, we have Bruna, which we assumed Bruna was probably going to win this coming into the show, and she definitely did. To me, it was kind of hands down, no contest. She won it. She won it hands down. So I really like Bruno's look a lot. It's very pretty. She's not the biggest girl on stage. She was harder, like more shredded at finals than she was at prejudging. Her conditioning is very, very, very tight. I'm wondering if they told her it was a little too tight. I don't know. To me, it was borderline. It was borderline. She was very, very conditioned. I heard some critiques on her suit top looking like it was going to pop at any moment. So again, what I was telling you about before with the suits, you've got to be careful of these things. Even looking at this photo, It looks like she's this close to coming out of her suit top. So I would go with a bigger cup and pull it in towards the center more. Again, she's got one of those long connectors in the center. Get rid of these long connectors. Get rid of these long connectors. Pull your suit top in. Doesn't do you any good to show all that skin in the middle. The suit itself was like a lighter green, which I thought looked really pretty on her. Wouldn't be my first choice. I liked the blue that she wore at the Arnold better. But you know, it wasn't bad. I just like a blue one better. And then let's find a back shot. Okay, here's a back shot for you. So you can see she's very conditioned. Like we were talking about in Bikini, we didn't see any of these diamond drops. She's got those diamond drops. So again, I think this might be a little bit too much. It's borderline. You know, she's full. Her glutes are nice and full, which is great. But I think she needs to come in just a little bit softer because it's just so razor hard back here. And I don't think she needs all that. So that's my 2 cents as far as that's concerned. Back, as far as the suit in the back, we're fine. We're good. The same thing with the hair. You know, this is different in wellness versus bikini. We don't need to see the shoulders. We don't need to see the lower back because it is an unbalanced division. So we don't need the same kind of look from the back that we have in bikini. So this back shot is actually right on. I just think her conditioning is a little bit too hard, in my opinion. So, but again, to me, it was like a hands down win. So there you have it. There's your wrap up for this weekend. So thoughts, questions, anything that I missed that I didn't cover, anything you guys want to add? You can thank Britney again for coming on and saying hi to all of y'all. I'll leave it open for a minute or two so that you can ask any questions. If not, then we'll hang it up for tonight. But while we're doing that, I'll show the QR code again for the flash sale. We are closing that out tonight in about a half an hour. Thoughts on Juliet in figure? She was fourth, and I thought she looked great, but in comparison to the rest of the top four, she was the smallest and she was the softest. I like her shape the best for figure personally, but I'm guessing that they told her she needed to be harder and she probably needs more size. So that's my 2 cents. I personally like her look, but that's not what got rewarded as far as winning. So there's your flash sale up there. We have 2 Sundays with Sean this month in April, and they're coming up. Can't remember the dates. Somebody shout out the dates if you remember. They're coming up though. I'll pull it up while we're waiting here. 14th, this coming Sunday, the 28th. So if you're local and you want to compose, there you go. We got our group classes those 2 weekends. Our next show is the Virginia NPC Classic here. Then I think the next one after that is Pittsburgh, then New York, and so on and so forth. What else? What am I missing? Am I missing anything? I'm forgetting. We will have a Behind the Bikini. We're going to shoot on Thursday again. So if you guys have questions for Behind the Bikini, feel free to send those in, and we will do those in the podcast. We will preview. Do we have any shows this weekend? I haven't even looked to see if there's. I think next weekend is Wasatch, not this weekend. So I don't know if we have any shows. I did not wrap up the One Bro Pro show because we don't have photos. So we got nothing to wrap up. Altavia did win that though, so Altavia's qualified. And if that's it, there's no other questions, then I'm gonna let you guys go for tonight. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share. Even after this goes in repost, do the same thing. Go back and comment and like on it and all that stuff for us because that helps us. Appreciate you guys all getting on the lives this weekend too. That was great. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, I'll do that in any shows that I can so that we can get some live coverage if there is not a live stream available for the show. And that's it. So if there's no shows this weekend, then we won't do another live this week. But I'll put out some more content, some pre-recorded content for you guys. I've got some stuff from this weekend. So with that, you guys have a great night. Flash sale, we got 1 package left. So if you haven't looked at it yet, look at it now because it's suits, posing, hair and makeup, all the things that you need, activewear, all the things. at 73% off. So we got one package left, and it's closing down in like a half an hour. So this was a long one. This was a long live feed, guys. So with that, you guys, I hope you guys have a great night.